The San Francisco State University emblem on a white background with black text reading Paul K. Longmore Institute on Disability. White text on a black background reads Superfest Sacramento, a disability film festival, presented in partnership between the Sacramento Public Library and the Paul K. Longmore Institute on Disability.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rivka Sass. I'm the director of the Sacramento Public Library, and I'm thrilled to welcome all of you to our second annual Superfest Disability Film Festival in Sacramento. The 9 short films that you will see tonight portray disability through a diverse and complex lens. And I realized I just forgot something. I need to introduce who I am or describe who I am. I'm a 68-year-old woman who could be your grandma. I'm Caucasian, and I'm sitting at my dining room table with my spice rack and my kitchen behind me. I really want to thank our partners who've made this program possible: the California Braille and Talking Book Library, the California State Library, the Paul K. Longmore Institute on Disability at San Francisco State University, Society for the Blind Sacramento, California Council on Development Disabilities, Developmental Disabilities Service Organization. Also, special thanks to Sacramento Public Library's accessibility team for their work to produce this annual event, our partners from Bay Area Superfest, and of course, the selection committee made up of the disability community. Tonight's program is dedicated to the memory of a beloved member of our library family, Amber Wooten Clark. People who knew Amber recall her passion as a fierce advocate for those with disabilities, and through her career at SPL, she helped develop many programs that made our libraries welcoming and inclusive. Her legacy of accessibility and equity lives on in our guiding principles and through programs like Superfest and Sensory Storytimes, which are now available on demand on the library's YouTube channel. Know that the library is here for you, and we remain committed to making the library a welcoming place for all. I would now like to introduce Emily Smith Batix, Associate Director of the Paul K. Longmore Institute on Disability at San Francisco State University, who helped put all of this together and will share a brief history on how the Superfest Disability Film Festival came to be. And she has our grateful thanks. Thank you, Emily.
Thank you so much. Just a quick audio description of myself. I am in my 30s. I'm sitting in front of a very busy, real looking bookshelf, and I've got some really curly hair. I'm a white woman, and I've got some wooden earrings on. So Superfest is the longest running disability film festival in the world. In October, we celebrated our 34th festival, and we love doing events like this, showcases that spin off and bring our films to an even wider audience. I myself am with the Longmore Institute on Disability, and we run Superfest, and we're at San Francisco State. And we're an organization that just tries to study and showcase disability experiences and use those to revolutionize social views. And there's no better way to do that than through cinema and film. Well, everyone, that's our film program, but we still have a little bit of discussion to cap off our night. So I am very pleased to now introduce 2 of our former Superfest jurors. Actually, hopefully they're still present, because now we're getting ready for next year's festival. We have Alex Locust joining us and Matthew Alaniz. Can you both turn on your videos and give a brief audio description of yourself and just tell us a little bit about who you are? Let's start with Matthew.
Hi, my name is Matthew Alaniz. I am a screenwriter and script consultant living in Austin, Texas. I am a Latino male, Mexican American, brown skin, black hair, brown eyes.
Nice. Alex?
Hi everyone, my name is Alex Locust. I use he, him pronouns. I identify as Black, biracial, glamputee, if you will. I do community organizing, really involved in equity, justice, liberation, all sorts of really fun ways to make social change. Serving big curly hair tonight. I got my coral background wall, some couple day old nails, and very excited for this conversation.
Excellent. Can you both share a little bit about just the personal stories you've had of like getting to see your story on film and what you think that means for disability in a broader sense? How about Alex?
Thanks, Emily. There's so much I could say to this. You know, you said seeing yourself in film, and that's what Superfest has offered in a way that I've really haven't had before. You know, one of the questions that you offered to us ahead of time was like, how does Superfest move film's disability representation forward? And to me, it just made me think about like the fact that in a way, mainstream media is really stuck. It feels kind of like a Groundhog's Day situation. You know, we're seeing the same stories told over and over. If it's not a rich white man who ends up in a wheelchair, it's like a different white man who was already disabled, but neither of those actors were disabled to begin with. And so to see a diversity of racial experiences, right? To see Black and brown disabled people, to see amputees, right? Like in single, to see like messy disabled people who have imperfect lives, make unhealthy choices, right? Grow, and in ways where their disability is not like pitied, it's not fetishized, right? I think that has really changed my perception of myself, knowing that like my story can be told and should be told. And it's also empowered me to like want more, or like I already wanted more, but it's empowered me to feel sturdy in that desire to want more. I feel like that's what Superfest has really offered me, is that I don't like what I see in mainstream media, and that's okay. I'm not asking for too much. We have, you know, 30 years of this festival getting international content that year after year expands my awareness and my mind around disability. So it's really, I'm really grateful for this as a reservoir and a reminder that like wanting more is not too much.
Yeah, I'll just piggyback a little bit on what Alex said. You know, I sought out Superfest just because I was kind of tired of seeing the same old things in media and in movies, and I just typed in disability in films, and you know, several years ago, when Superfest came up, and when I attended, it was very eye-opening to see not only movies that featured people with disabilities, but also showcase them in a more, I guess, correct light. And then also an honest light. I think that's what I was kind of missing from most mainstream media's perception of people with disabilities. Is so often in classical storytelling, we rely on a flaw that the character kind of either overcomes or succumbs to, and a lot of times in mainstream media, the flaw is already the disability, not the human aspect of just being someone in the world who happens to be disabled. And we watch movies like Single, like Alex pointed out, that's so refreshing to see someone with a point of view other than just having a disability, and this is her life experience. And the same thing with the first film we watched, Galen Lee. We're watching a musician who just happens to be a really great musician, not a musician who's disabled. So seeing things like that, I think, is great for not only people with disabilities, but for the entire world to see, to know that we're not just kind of, one note, that we have such a broader existence in the world, in our communities.
Thank you both. So I know that there's a policy of like what happens in the jurors room stays in the jurors room, but can you give us a little glimpse inside, how you make those decisions and what are some of those moments like, and what's some of the stuff that you most cringe over, or what's some of the stuff you're most like, oh, this one? Maybe Matt.
I'll start. Yeah, I think like you're talking about Galen Lee again. So often we see things that are like pity focused or inspiration porn, as she so put it, and those things are kind of difficult to watch if those movies so happen to be in that jurors room. But there's what I found really great about being in part of the jury is that everybody has a voice. And we're all listened to, and just because we're all people with disabilities in that room, we can disagree and we can argue our points of view and still come out with still have just a focused goal in terms of showcasing people with disabilities and artists with disabilities, filmmakers with disabilities. And I think that's something that I've always looked forward to, and I was surprised, happily surprised, when I joined Superfest several years ago.
I would totally echo that, Matthew. The opportunity to be in a space where our lived experiences as disabled people is the asset, right? That's what makes us the jury, right? Or that's the focal point. Is really again, it's not like we're the diversity hire, right? Like that's why we're there, and then it's about how our other lived experiences complicate that. And then when we're in this conversation, we have this diversity of thought where someone's experience with disability makes them want to see like a person first perspective around a film, right? They want to see someone's personhood celebrated and their disability be a component of the story, whereas maybe I really want a disability, an identity first film, and see like disability really explored throughout, and to have the ability to like have multiple truths in a space and not have we're living out the complication of disability as a monolith, right? Where it's not like we all just see a film and we're all like, yes. That's definitely not the case. And I think that just always deepens my relationship to disability community. I think it helps challenge me to be more empathetic and more conscious of where people are coming into their experiences with it. The other thing I so cherish about the space is like the access intimacy that we share. Alice or Mia Mingus and her ideas of access intimacy, Alice Wong and Access is Love. Like, it's not just that we show up and the space is accessible and everything's great. It's like we also learn about each other's access needs in that space. Maybe we need to turn the lights down a little bit. Maybe somebody needs a bio break. Maybe there's content in the film that's overstimulating. And I find it really important in disability community to remember that access is really broad. So I think having that space for each other is really huge. And I mean, Emily knows I could go on about the things that make me cringe, but the things that I know we do look for, or what I know I really enjoy, is seeing how Superfest invites a lot of DIY content, right? Or like do it yourself, where it encourages filmmakers of all types, right? You don't have to have nice equipment. You don't have to have a lot of money. You film something meaningful and poignant on your iPhone or just a camera. Like, we want to see those stories because we know that like financial barriers prevent a lot of filmmakers from getting to have their stories told, you know, especially within the disability community. So that's one of the things I always really enjoy about Superfest.
That's right. And Alex has the experience of being a phase 1 and a phase 2 juror. Matthew, we've spared you from phase 1, where you we get about 200 submissions a year. And so our phase 1 jurors watch everything. And there tends to be a lot more of the cringe-worthy films like the Garden Variety was trying to get at, I believe, tonight. We have an audience question, and feel free, we have a very small amount of time, but we can try and take 1 or 2 more. Somebody asked, what would be your preferred outcome and what would you consider to be most successful? Living with a disability in such a manner that people around you never noticed it or treated you any particular way because of it, or living with your disability in such a way where it was celebrated? And I think that question is, you know, about disability in general, but also about film. You know, what are we looking for with disability? Who wants to take it?
I can start. For me, I was born as an amputee. That has made disability a part of my life since day one, and I feel like that has informed my relationship to identity first politics. People see me like I'm disabled, they treat me like I'm disabled. So I'm disabled and I love celebrating that. And I think that the more that I lead with a celebratory stance, the more it makes people realize that their discomfort or their stigma, shame, all of that related to disability, that's their problem. That's not mine. And it is a part of me. And I think when we show films like that, it also helps to show that like disability is a part of the human experience. I think that's something that people don't always consider, is that like if you know, I like to say disability is like a, you know, a VIP party, right? Like you're in line. You just got to live long enough, you know, you'll be in the booth with us. And so I feel like identity first, right? Celebrating disability is just inviting people to recognize that being disabled is a part of the human experience, and it's not something that like you'll avoid or you won't come in contact with. I think that celebration just helps everybody mitigate shame and confusion and erasure, especially even for how ableism affects non-disabled people. So yeah, I think celebration, that's my preferred route of representation.
Well, that's such a complex question, and you know, I think for me, there's just kind of a healthy balance between all of it. I think, you know, there is a celebratory aspect of disability, and personally speaking of my own disability, but it's also, you know, just a part of who I am as a human being, just as being Mexican American is part of who I am in this country. So, and that being said, and Alex keeps mentioning the movie Single, and what I like about that movie is that we're taking disability into more of a narrative kind of realm, and that's really what I hope to see. That's really why I'm a writer. That's really why I want to help other writers tell their stories, is because I believe that we all have stories to tell, and we all have stories to tell on a human level, and not just as my disability doesn't just define me, you know, 100%. It's a part of who I am. I would like to see more movies that kind of focus around that. And back to the point I made earlier that we talked about with this kind of inspiration porn or pity focused, or, you know, I tend to, in the mainstream media, have run into just, I'm bombarded by those type of movies. I'm bombarded by inspiration porn, by these documentaries that just showcase disability in such a way that that's the central and sole focus of it, towards being disabled. I mean, there's such a broad spectrum of that. And like I said, I'm human first. I'm a human being first and foremost. And that's how I relate to the rest of the world, just being a human being on this planet. So my hope is that we find a healthier balance, and that we can show more disability films that have a strong narrative, that have just a strong personal journey, personal story to tell, that could open up, able-bodied people's minds as well as the disabled community. So that's kind of where I lie, and that's my hopes to see in the future.
Well, a couple of questions have come in that are great because they allow you to plug your work, which is something I always want to get for you guys. So one person asked, Matthew, what's a film that you're working on and hoping to write someday, either currently in the works or just a dream? And then Alex, somebody looked up Glamputee. What is Glamputee? And and said, oh, you're obviously not offering in-person workshops. Can they attend on Zoom? Matthew first, then Alex, plug it.
All right. I'm currently writing my, I think, 8th feature length screenplay. It's about a boxing trainer who's disabled, who's trying to train an able-bodied fighter. So there is both plays, what I was just saying, the able-bodied world mixing with the disabled community. But yeah, I write, and I also do script consultation here throughout the country. You can follow me with my name, Matthew S. Alaniz, on Twitter, Facebook. My website is matthewsalaniz.com. Yeah, and I just, like I said, I love stories. I love storytelling. And not only do I like to tell them, but I also like to help others tell their story as well.
Matthew, I'm looking forward to the day when you have to recuse yourself in the jury room.
Yeah, hopefully that day is coming soon.
Yes, I can't wait. Emily, I appreciate the opportunity to plug. I've been mostly trying to put content out on my Instagram at Glamputee. So that's GLAMPUTEE. I'm like, can I spell it? And Glamputee is just a celebration of my identities coming together to make everything you see before you. I'm Black, I'm queer, I'm disabled. I really enjoy the spectacle of all of those things, and just promoting disability justice with a sense of flair and flamboyance. I love organizing, I love convening, I love bringing people together in person, and have hosted my workshops, Build a Disability, in the past. Online, Instagram has been a nice way to do like Instagram live conversations around like cross-movement solidarity, finding ways that we can weave disability justice into other movement work. But of course, Instagram is also imperfect. It's not as accessible as I wish that it could be. So definitely open to opportunities like this with amazing interpreters, captioning. Just takes a little bit more finagling, and sometimes one person show makes that a little difficult. So shout out to Emily and all of the crew for making this happen and accessible.
Thank you so much. So that's a perfect note to wrap up on. Oh, we're going to switch interpreters for the final words here. Thank you, Alex and Matthew, for joining and sharing your stories and experiences. And thank you for the work you do to Superfest to make it possible and help us select these films today.
Hello?
Somebody is unmuting. So with that, we are all done today, but I'm going to drop in the chat our YouTube channel where you can see some of our past programs. And you can also, there's in the chat a form for a survey where you can share a little bit about your experiences today. We will also follow up with information so you can follow us and hopefully join us for future programs like this. We know it's a hard moment right now of isolation, and we're doing our best to try and bring programs like this that just show some good disability stories. And so we are so grateful to Sacramento Public Library for making this event possible today, and to all of you for joining us and staying up into the hours to enjoy these films. Thank you all.
White text on a black background reads, "Thank you for watching." Please visit us on Facebook at SFSU Disability or on Twitter at LongmoreInst, or on the web at longmoreinstitute.sfsu.edu.